Hey friends, today I'm reflecting on some things that I'd like to share with you. These are just reflections on relationships and on fear. As many of you know by now, L24 Collective takes its name from Luke 24, where Jesus is revealed to some of his followers after his resurrection. It's a pretty important passage of scripture to us. We see Jesus. He joins his followers on the road to Emmaus, but they don't recognize him by his appearance or his words. Jesus is revealed to them later in the story while reclining at the table with them. That's when their eyes are opened to his identity. But there's something that happens before the revelation. In verses 17 through 27, we find a conversation between these followers and Jesus. And when Jesus initially joins them on the road, they're discussing current events and they're talking about Jesus' crucifixion. It even says that they were having heated dialogue about this. Jesus asks some really simple and humble questions, as he often does. He says, "What are you guys talking about?" And they give him a pretty cocky reply. They say, "Are you the only person in Jerusalem that doesn't know what's been going on?" But Jesus just answers, "What things?" I love that. What things? Now, as I recall, Jesus was actually the main character of everything that had just taken place. Do you really think that Jesus, of all people, didn't know what had just happened in Jerusalem? But it's through his humble approach that Jesus draws them into this life-changing interaction. And they begin to recount to Jesus what had happened, but a key confession comes through here. In verse 21, we see it say, one of the disciples said, We had hoped that it would be this Jesus, that would be the one that would redeem Israel, that would redeem us." You see, in the process of this conversation, Jesus exposes someone's lost hope. It's the sickness of their heart, so that he can speak to their heart. See, Jesus didn't run around making political statements or offering some kind of social commentary. No, Jesus doesn't simply medicate the situation. Jesus is the great physician. Jesus gets to the root. It wasn't until this moment in their encounter with him that Jesus begins to open the scriptures to them and speak into their lives. And this is just a passing thought, but I've been thinking that maybe some of us begin preaching too soon. You know, legalism is always demonstrated as a failure to interpret within context. But love always listens first. We read on in Luke 24. Jesus goes in to stay with them, and when he takes his place at the table, he breaks the bread, he blesses them, and then they see him for who he is. The result, these disciples go back to Jerusalem. They tell everyone what they'd encountered, that they'd seen Jesus, and that their hope for the one who would redeem them was not lost. From here, we're propelled into the book of Acts. You know, Jesus told us what to do. He says, "Go and make disciples." But Jesus also demonstrated how to do it. It's through relationship. This is what L24 Collective exists to do, to invite people to a place at the table so they can encounter the real Jesus. This is the reason behind all of our methods, everything that we're doing. This is the passion behind our pursuits. And this all sounds very wonderful, but this isn't the easy way to do things. It's much easier to set up shop and have the rock and roll show and market to our neighbors with door hangers and say, "Hey, come to an event." It's a lot harder to say, "We want to get to know you and we'll take the time to do it." We all love the sound of relationships, but we often don't align our lives in this way. You know, in a world where we have 2,000 some Facebook friends, I'm not that cool. I've got 1,500 some, but it's easy to be seen and heard, you know. But we often aren't truly known. Actually, we often don't even know ourselves. When it comes to identity, we're very confused in today's society. Know me is a frightening idea because it would essentially be inviting people into an area of our life that is even unknown to us. It's fear of the unknown that causes us to construct these safe boundaries that we can control, but we're setting ourselves up for isolation within these walls, and we're starving inside like we're some kind of a besieged city. We need relationship, but it scares us. But Jesus does two things. He offers relationship while simultaneously bringing peace. Throughout Scripture, it's the revelation of God coupled with "do not be afraid" that changes the atmosphere. Jesus brought peace. Jesus offered relationship. And it was through relationship but there was life-changing revelation. I pray that we as followers of Jesus would catch this, that we would do something with this, that we would be a people that tear down the walls of those besieged inside their isolation by inviting them into a place where they can be known, loved, and transformed. God bless you, and be inspired to live this.